Royal Navy ships have been a regular presence in Bahrain, although not formally permanent, since the 1980s. 4 destroyers operate from Mina Salman, and it also supports frigates. But this landmark deal to improve and expand the facilities will mean it can accommodate the UK's new aircraft carriers when they come into service. It'll be a base where they can be maintained and supplied away from the UK. But doing business with Bahrain is controversial. In 2011, during the Arab Spring, the Shia majority protested against Sunni rule, the response condemned by many around the world as brutal. In a report last year, the Commons Foreign Affairs Committee said the aggressive manner with which Bahraini security forces dealt with the protests had damaged relations with the UK. It said Britain should be extremely careful about the message it sent by working with Bahrain, and defence cooperation, it said, should not be unconditional. And the parliamentary record Hansard reveals questions are still being asked pretty much every week by concerned MPs. But the chairman of the committee behind last year's report has welcomed the new Bahrain base.
Bahrain is of concern to people who take a close interest in human rights, and understandably there is concern about it in Bahrain itself. But what I would say to the people who are protesting about this is that the way to encourage a country to improve its human rights is not to disengage but to engage. And by having a strategic facility like this, we're going to have more Brits on the ground there. We're going to have more dialogue, more access to the people on the ground in Bahrain, and so I don't think that this deal should not go ahead because of the current human rights situation.
One Bahraini human rights activist has called Britain's new Navy base a reward for supporting a corrupt regime. What is clear is it will give Britain a new military foothold in a strategically important and volatile region.
I do invite you just to take into account that there are reports that the protest movement inside Bahrain does have the support of the Iranian government. Iran doesn't want us to have a base here, so there may just be a connection that some of the protesters are being influenced by those who actually don't want Britain to have a base here for strategic reasons. It is a fast-moving world, and there's a lot of interacting issues around this, and so I think we actually have to look at the whole thing in the round.
There are many unanswered questions about the cost, size and timescale for this new base, and whether Britain has included any diplomatic conditions. But Britain has made its decision. James Hurst, Forces News, Westminster.